Hi everyone, hope you guys in well today. So my name is Ratna Kumar and this is me, and today I will introduce you about application of a photography technique in food industry. So stay tuned. Do you guys know what is food industries? The term of food industry covers a series or a more long meaning of industrial activities directed of or means of production, distribution, processing, preservation and packaging of foodstuff or food products. So for our food industry, we use some chromatography technique to make sure the food is safe and healthy to consume. So, food industry often involves the use of chemical to make the food more attractive and more delicious for the consumers. For example, pesticide, which is used to protect the crop against the weed or pest, while the preservative or antioxidant is used to extend the life or cycle life of the food product. Such chemical is helpful in increase the productivity of food, competitiveness and profit margins. However, if the amount consumed exceed the certain limit, some of the chemical become a big factor to be harmful to human who consume it. Therefore, most of countries have bring down a rule or an establish a official tolerance level for chemical, additive, residues and contaminant in the food product. This regulation must be monitored carefully to ensure the additive is not exceed its limits. To ensure compliance with these regulatory requirements, analytical method has been done to determine the nature and concentration of chemicals in the food products. Monitoring of food product includes a check of both raw material and end product. To protect consumers, Public Control Agency also analyze selected food sample before send it to marketing or being sold in shops. The food sample need to run through the quality control or called as QC before reach the consumer to make sure the food is safe and does not harm and become a danger to the customers. Then how this work to make sure the food is safe and does not harm the people out there. So let's see it and let us find it how it's work. Okay, now how do we know that how it's work and could help the food become safe if there are any chemical in the food? So the term of chromatography become the main aspect in the safety of chemical level in food. Let's see through what is chromatography. Chromatography is a technique that used to separate the each component from an unknown sample. Chromatography is divided to many types, but we will keep an eye on Hplc. What is Hplc? Hplc is a high performance liquid chromatography. So it is a chromatographic technique in analytical chemistry used to separate, identify and quantify each component in a mixture. This technique relies on pumps to pass a pressure liquid solvent containing sample mixture through a column filled with a solid absorbent material. Each component in the sample interacts slightly different with the adsorbent material causing different flow rate or different velocity for different component and leading to separation of component as it flow through the columns. Hplc separation have theoretical parameter and equation to describe the separation of component into signal peaks when detected by some specific instrumentation, such as by UV detector, mass spectrometer. The parameters are largely derived from two sets of chromatographic theory, which is a plate theory and one diameter equation. Definitely they can put in practice through analysis of Hplc chromatograms, although the rate of theory is considered the more accurate theory. Okay guys, let us see why it's Hplc or high performance liquid chromatography is widely used in food industry. Hplc has a wide range of uses from pharmaceutical product development to testing the traits of the drug in the pharmaceutical or medicine. But for our discussion, we go in detail about the application for technique in food industry, where it can be used to separate, identify and quantify various ingredients, additives and contaminants that are located in the food. As we take a closer look, the presence of pesticide, antibiotics and antiflatocidin in food become a big factor of Hplc involved in this industry. First and foremost, pesticides are substances used to destroy any pests, so this will maximize the crop yield by keeping the pests away. But the pest legacy will not end when the crop or food product are harvested and washed with clean water. When the pesticide residues stay in the food for a long time, they are ingested by human because the human does not realize that the pesticide is still in the food. In a studies, it proves that the consumption of pesticide has been linked to many types of dangerous cancer that can cause death to human. So Hplc can be used to detect and quantify target analytes to monitor pesticide level, either it is suitable for consume or not on food product, in case to keep them in government living and protect consumers. Another potential harmful ingredient that contained in food are antibiotics. They are given to animals to prevent common or rare disease that can infect the animals. These ingredients usually are located in fresh meats like chicken, mutton, fishes or seafoods. Same like the function of pesticide, they can remain in the food chain as residue. The main risk is that the drug-resistant bacteria could transfer from the meat to human body when the human consume it. With antibiotic resistance, about 23,000 to 25,000 deaths each year in Europe or US respectively. It is not a big surprise anymore that the compound is banned in many countries, and this is another area where the Hplc can lend a big hand to food industry. So now we have seen about the big why of Hplc needed in food industry as the chromatography technique to prevent the food from become dangerous to consume it. Before this, I explained slightly about Hplc, but now I will explain detailedly or briefly how can Hplc help in analysis of product and how the process happen. In a small quantity, the sample mixture has to be separated and tested, is sent into stream of mobile phase via a column. In Hplc, there are various types of column which is available with the solvent of varying particle size and surfaces. The mixture moves through the column at different velocity and interact with stationary phase. The velocity of each component in sample influenced by its chemical nature of column and composition of mobile phase. The term where a specific analyte emerge from column is classified as retention. Stationary phase might be hydrophobic, in simple term is afraid of water, of polar in nature, whereas the mobile phase commonly miscible combination of water and organic solvent, or sometimes water-free mobile phase also used in the chromatography. The composition of mobile phase is selected based on the intensity of interaction between sample component and stationary phase. The component is separated from sample based on their polarity of the substances. To make you more clear, we can use a simpler example, which is we use oil, water and ethanol. Ethanol is a polar molecule, thus it will mix properly in water. In contrast, oil is not a polar molecule, so it does not mix well or combine with water. When compound elected frequently across the concentration gradient, the amount of water which is in mobile phase decreases after some time. When this happens, the component in mobile phase will become non-polar molecule. The compound that is contained in sample use stick to carbon change in column, and the compound are most non-polar stick strongest, while the polar compound will weakly stick to the carbon chain. Usually, Hplc is applicable in separating soluble compounds, including non-volatile or thermally unstable molecules such as drugs, toxin, and pesticide. As a comparison, I will take the gas chromatography as a control variable, or we can call it simply as GC. And what is GC? GC is a technique that can separate mixture, but the compound that use GC is different because they will use compound that are volatile as sample and need substances that have a high temperature due to its volatility of sample. So it is a definite no to GC technique to use as a chromatography technique to food industry. So definitely Hplc is the suitable technique for analysis of food product in food industry. Okay, now guys, this is the high performance liquid chromatography. So these are the small and quick animation of Hplc animations that occur in separating each component from the unknown compound in our real life. So the presence of mobile phase and stationary phase lead to a perfect separation of important component in the food product. After separation session, the sample are sent into detector section to identify the composition or partition of each compound in the food sample. For our discussion, which is application of food industry, we can trace the level of pesticide and toxic level in the food sample in the product. From there, a big discussion should be taken by the upper or higher officers whether the food product is safe or not for consumers before marketing, based on the study on interpretation of data on graph of Hplc chromatography that released by the computer. So now, are you guys clear? How does the safe food are produced and checked repeatedly as to make sure the consumer consume healthy and safe food on their daily life? So we can come to the end of the video. So before I end it, I want to tell something about the summary. As a summary, HPLC or high performance liquid chromatography is a useful analytical tool for establishing the specific or small component in a big food compound formulation. So it will enable researcher to identify the composition of each component and discover a full item in the food product, and they can discharge the harmful item from the food and make the food more healthy, safe to eat, and environment friendly. So safe food can lead to the safe life and happy society. So we must eat a healthy and safe food to produce a good and healthy lifestyle to our young generation and upcoming generation. So that's all